Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to wait for some people to get here. This is the take two of the 50 Questions Friday. So we're just going to give it a few minutes here. So let's just do something here until all of our live participants get here. So let's just go ahead and do this Trinity breath. So the Trinity breath that we do, it moves us from the head back into the heart. So we see our consciousness as this little ball of light about the size of a marble. It sits right behind the pineal gland. It sees out our physical eyes. It sees the world separate from us. Our consciousness is so much influenced by mass consciousness, the emotional field, old aspects, old traumas. There's just so much that influences us when we are in the head. So we're doing the Trinity breath here and taking the 3 breaths to move our consciousness from the head back into the physical heart. So within the physical heart, there's actually brain cells within the heart. This is where our consciousness began when we came into this world. And then at some point, we move out of the heart and into the head. So this Trinity breath is just simply taking the 3 breaths to move ourselves back into the heart again. So just closing your eyes, putting your attention onto the physical heart where you find your light. This is the seat of the soul, the space within the human where you access your light. So let's take those 3 breaths to go into the heart space. So imagining connecting heart to heart with the earth and breathing in that energy, that light, that support of the earth up through the feet, into the heart, and just allowing your entire body to connect with the earth, just allowing her to envelop you. The second breath in this Trinity breath is connecting with all that you are. That is soul. That is the master you. That's the culmination of the lifetimes, the wisdom. That is all the unhealed and other parts that are still out there. So we connect to all that we are and just breathe it in. Just breathe in all that you are. And it's not like you're doing anything except for being in that space of allowing in your light in all that you are. Beautiful. And the third breath is where you bring it all together within you. All that you are, the earth, the human, all within the heart. And that just grounds you, connects you, and brings you into this sacred space of you. Awesome. Hey, I see we got some people showing up here. Thank you guys for your patience in getting here this morning. As you saw, our other live was stalled from last week. Hey, good morning, Malik. Good to see you here. So anyway, let's see. I don't think we got any questions from the internet today. We'll talk about some of the new tools, and then we'll just see where we go from there. So let's see. We did get the new silver fidget listed. So this one's one that I collapsed down to turn into a pendant. Independents can be available. We just might make those. So we do have the silver fidgets. Here next week, we will have the copper fidgets in the new energy. But right now, the regular fidgets in the nothing space are on sale clearance. And then here's something exciting, you guys. We are doing a sale here all weekend for Labor Day. And we are doing 12% off store-wide. And that includes all of the sales. So where all of our tensor field generators, like this fidget, the original nothing space fidget, which we're not making anymore, these ones are already marked down at what? 33% off or 30% off. All the tensor field generators are. But with this sale, you get an additional 12% off this weekend. So that makes, well, what is that? So that's around 45% off of the fidgets and the other tensor field generators that we have on clearance. So, gosh, I would take advantage of this weekend sale because we have some pretty fantastic tools that are already on clearance. And then plus all of the new tools. And the new tools are pretty fantastic. So I'd like to share with you just a couple of the tools that I feel are the most beneficial. The larger coil in silver. Man, I tell you what, this light field coil is something else. And what it's doing for people that are in the know and understanding of what it's doing is pretty amazing too. It keeps people centered, it keeps them from floating off and out there. We have heard a few people that they said, well, I couldn't have that pendant for a little while, that, this light field silver coil pendant, because it was just too strong for them at first. But and they've said that after they've utilized it, they've gotten used to the energy. But they talked about this one person that I talked to yesterday. He has clients and such, and that he uses the tools for distance work. And but yeah, he said that it just took him out of the body so much. He thought it would be more grounding. Well, it's grounding of your light. Um, the golden healer coil, the smaller one, that one still does bring through more grounding. That's just kind of the intention with that one when people wear it, is that it's grounding, and then that brings it through. So, I mean, if you're working with the new fields and they're taking you way out there, just say, hey, get me more grounded. These tools are working through what is in your highest and best always. And so if you don't like what's going on, you can say, okay, let's just slow this down, because that's all it's doing, is that it is pushing you through into new spaces, places, and perspectives. And perspectives is one huge thing that influences your creation, everything that occurs. Because your energy is patterned, one, by your perspectives, your desires, perspective of life, beliefs, consciousness, mindset. So your perspective is what I've always said, that this new coil pendant changes so much, is your perspective. And with that perspective, that's the mindset perspective of life. It gets in and finds and clears out those deep-seated beliefs. So, I mean, it really does realign you with your energy, which is everything in your world, in a new way. So it realigns you with your world in a whole new way. It really does. So anyway, the silver coil pendant, the light field coil, has been my absolute favorite tool since the beginning here in this new energy. The other tool that, man, I highly suggest are the wands, and it doesn't have to be the silver. I use the copper master's wand, the copper and brass one, for, some time. And I love that one. I wasn't really drawn to the silver one. And plus the silver one's spendy. It's 2.2 ounces of silver. Um, but the copper brass one is just amazing. It's potent. It'll get in and do some work. It will also hold you in a great space and also help shift perspectives, just like the other coil does. But once I really once I got used to that copper and brass wand, I picked up the silver one, and I never resonated with the silver one before that, but now, wow, it's pretty amazing. And I've told some of the stories about the copper and brass wand in the beginning when that one came out, and how it was shifting things in the physical just instantly, and they don't come back. It's pretty wild. Um, anyway, that was my sales pitch for the morning. Hey, Renard, glad you're here today. um, Yeah, so thank you guys all again for finding us here on this take two. And I was just trying to see if I had any notes or anything. Um, yeah. So if anybody has any questions that are here, you may drop them here. Otherwise, not sure what we're going to do today. We might just call it an early day. So I definitely need help here at the studio. Gosh, Mike has tendonitis. We sent him home probably for a week or two. He's the guy who does all the polish and grinding and prettying up of all the welds that I make. So all of the beautiful welds are because of Mike. Um, he's gone here for a week or so, and yeah, there's not really many people here that are actually working on the tools. That's me and Mary. So, um, the practitioner rings are going to be put on hold for a bit because that's really what gave Mike the tendonitis is because I mean he gets into all the crevices and just cleans and polishes that silver. Um, and it's just so much of that work that's just caused his wrist to just swell up and everything. So I am going to make, but I'm going to make some big rings. But I'm going to make a big ring for the purpose of creating a new floor plate. And I'm super excited about this new floor plate is because I'm going to use shungite. So it's going to be, I don't know, a black hole, a black sun. It's and it's going to have just the Metatron's cube, the 13 rings that go in the 6 directions, and that's all it's going to be is those 6 spires out, and then it's going to be on a shungite background, and it's going to be a giant floor plate. So anyway, super excited about making one of those because that's going to be kind of our new chamber and everything. Because getting ready to do shows here coming up in October. Um, Gosh, we're doing the Star Knowledge Conference. There's a Star Knowledge Conference here in South Dakota because that's where it all originated from, the Star Knowledge stuff. It originated with Chief Golden Light Eagle, and since he's passed on, his daughter is doing it, and she lives on the other side of South Dakota. So we're going to go to a small little town on the reservation here in South Dakota in October and do a Star Knowledge Conference. So I'll be there. Gosh, same weekend. I got to go down to Sioux Falls for a holistic fair in October and then get home and head straight down to Flagstaff for the Dowsers Conference. So I'm going to spend the 3-day weekend starting to get ready and ahead of everything for being gone a lot in October. But anyway, cool. I chatted enough here. Maybe we got some questions. Thanks, Renard. Let's see. Got my personal light field generator and wearing it as a pendant. And wow, while wearing, can speaking while wearing it amplify my words? So, yes, it amplifies your words in a way that you probably speaking a little bit more from the heart, or at least drawn to speak more from the heart. And when you are connected and speaking, it's like yes, it does amplify your words because it brings so much more through. Because when you are present and you are using your words, it is going to, hmm, you know, you're going to talk deeper. You're going to be talking soul to soul with the person, and it's going to be beyond the words. So your communication is going to be communication as a multidimensional being. So you're going to be communicating on all the other ways when you're communicating with just words. So you are mano a mano, but you're so much more, especially when you are, you have the intention of utilizing that space to help project not only the voice, but the energy with it, the essence of it, all of the information and ideas, because energy is simply information. And so you're sharing more information on more levels and layers. Um, And it's probably a lot truer than what comes through as words most of the time. But then again, that's also being present. Um, and how about wearing it to speak with spirits? And it kind of depends on what your definition of spirits are. I guess we always saw in how we name spirits was spirits are when the humans incarnate and they die and they have a ghost, and then that ghost finds its way home. That's when we call it. I mean, that's just the way we've been calling spirits, is those that have released from the human realm and are now on the other side. Um, and I don't have much experience at all talking to those that have crossed over. Um, Never tried, never been drawn to. So, um, but I do know that people do it. Um, and of course, in Renard, yes, the answer is yes. Of course, it will help to speak with those in the other realms. Because when you tune into these fields, you exist in the other realms. Well, you always exist in the other realms, but you're more tied in, you're more aware on certain levels that you're connecting into all the realms. People talk about dimensions and they're like, oh, dimension 3 and 5th dimension and 4th and 7th and 12th. It's all a bunch of freaking BS, really, because dimensions aren't stacked. They're not levels and layers like that. They're not like, oh, this is one giant dimension. We can create a dimension and we can collapse it. It's easy. When we step into 50 Questions Friday and we set the space, we have created our own little dimension. And it's a realm is kind of the word that I'd rather use than dimension, because dimension has so much machio to it, because it all exists simultaneously right here, just as your lifetimes in all the different realms. And so once we step in to that multidimensionality, that space, the presence, the being, you released so much of your shit that, you can actually be present. Because if you're carrying a lot of baggage, you're either connecting in, entangled with all the past and the crap, and we're just going to call it past, but all the things that have occurred, you're entangled, that's influencing you. Or else you're worried about the future, projecting, always worrying, thinking. That keeps you out of the presence too. So the more that you've done your work of being aware and just saying no more and releasing, letting go, however it all occurs, the more that you can step into presence and be present in all of those different realms. And so, yes, these tools will definitely, in these new fields especially, will help you access the other realms that are always all right here. Um, and so those that exist as spirits that have crossed over, that is in another realm. And so you can just you can access them. That's part of stepping in as the multidimensional being that we are, and realizing it and utilizing it and being it. Um, Hey, Stephanie, how different is the energy between the silver and copper versions of the light field coils? You know, excuse me, the light field coils and all the coils that are in copper and silver. The copper is okay. The copper is grand, especially for those that are just, you're just kind of wanting to check it out. You're not getting really serious and wanting to invest, because I understand the silver is an investment. I would still highly recommend the silver for several reasons. One, the copper patina so much, and then it's just not as pretty as the silver. Granted, yes, my silver has patinaed a bit, but I never clean this. It goes through. salt water, everything else. So, but the silver stays prettier longer, and I like that. So that's one reason I like the silver. But beyond the aesthetics, the silver energetically has been just a crisper, cleaner field. It seems like there's more clarity in it. Um, and that's been my perspective. And truly what I tell everybody, and it's written there on those pages too, I still believe, but it's just feeling into it, just going into the heart space, feel into them, because truly the copper and the silver are carrying the same field. It's just the quality of the field is just slightly more pristine in the silver in these higher consciousness fields. Um, so I mean, the copper brass are great. They're going to hold a wonderful space. And the silver too. What I like about the silver is you. It's gosh, I'm trying to describe. It's almost it's like it. I don't know. I like to hold on to my silver longer. It seems like I wear the silver pieces and just wear them for like a long time compared to the copper one. The copper one, I'll wear it for quite a bit, but then, I'll kind of switch it out usually for a silver one. Um, I'm just drawn to the silver more, that field. But truly, Stephanie, it's I don't know. I'd really sit with it and consider the investment into the silver. But the copper is still grand. The copper is going to get you great places and spaces, and there's absolutely nothing the matter with the copper ones. Um, so really, I would just feel into it. And I guess I've just been giving my personal perspective on the copper silver, but there's absolutely nothing the matter with the copper ones. Um, what does the light field do to the Badar coil? So the Badar coils anymore, all the Badar coils that we've had here since I'm sure since like July 1st, all have the new light field energetic. It's just a brighter white light. So when I'm looking at that Badar coil, everything that the old energies with it, that is still there, the golden fountain and the packets of energy, the highest potentials, all of that. But when I first looked at it, when you asked me, it was just it reminds me of the light when I look at AI. It's a white light. It's almost like smoky. Um, but it's brilliant still. It's a bright white light, but yet it's kind of that smoky and soft. Um, and so that's all I saw at first was just that big column of just that thick white light. But then as I feel into it, yeah, the old Badar fountain and all the energies there that have been described are still within there. And it's kind of like to Stephanie, like with the or who am I asking? Oh, Linda. Linda. So also like for an example, is our plug-in discs. So when we had the Golden Fire, I could see that field around everything. But as soon as we switched to the new energy in the smart meter plug-in discs, it's like that field that was like translucent and clear and a little bit of gold on the edges. It's solid. It's that solid white light. Now, that's just how it presents to me. And it's just that to me, it being so solid, it's fuller, and it's all clarity. It's not, it's just not like a bunch of stuff in there. It's smooth and clear. Um, So that's how I would describe all the new tools in comparison to the old ones on how they're working, like everything from cell phone tabs and the discs and the alchemist tabs is that they're just more tangible light within there. It's a more of a tangible field. And the field is, and something about these new tools too, is that the old tools we used to put so much into it, like the tensor field generators, like a golden fire, we would put into it so that it was creating a field itself, that the field was doing a lot. And then when you put your awareness to it, your light to it, that entered and it just expanded everything and brought in more potentials when you interact with it in any way, whether it's just sitting there and you look at it, or you're playing with it, or you're sitting there in intentions with it, or meditation, whatever it is. Um, that's the new energy. We don't put into it. We're going to clear EMFs. We're going to, because before it was such a giant toolbox for the soul. All of our etheric templates were there. Everything that my sister and I have created along the way, that we've learned, that we've discovered, we put into those etheric templates so that it was just this grand toolbox of all these potentials that could be drawn out depending on where you're resonating between being the human and all that you are. And so the more that you're in your heart, you're inviting in your light, the greater the potentials would be in that field with it, like the golden fire and before. But now with this new field, we don't put into, like, let's say the personal generator, or the home generator, or the generator bracelets. We don't put into there to do all these things. We just put in there to connect with all that you are. All that you are as the multidimensional being, as the soul, as the master. That's the culmination of all the lifetimes, the wisdom. It's you as the human. It's all potentials, all lifetimes. And so that's that field. So it's condensed everything. It's brought everything together within that field. And it's no more just the tools saying, hey, here's these things that you can do. It's more unlimited. It's like there's no holds barred. There's no limitations within it. And it's still really hard to describe, but it's so much more, and it changes. Again, this new energy changes perspective. And it is huge. It's so we haven't even scratched the surface or have really a clue. But we know that it is rather grand, and it is all you. And that to me is the most important part of it all, is because it's empowering, because, even if you're just jumping into it and you don't really know what you're doing, and you're just like, you've just recently said no more, or maybe you just get it because you got EMF issues and you have it. The generators or any of the tools. I don't know. It's just going to really begin to shift your world, and you might not even attribute it to the tools or anything, but it's just it opens up things so much more. Copper feels like a fan and the silver feels like AC. That's a really good way to put it, Renard. Yeah. Yeah. But yet to me, with the Master's wands, the copper one is the one that felt so dang potent. I mean, the copper one, that's why I worked with the copper and the brass one, is because to me it felt so much more potent than the silver one. So in the wands, in the Master's wands, that's how I perceived it, is that the copper was more potent. And I'd almost liken to say that the copper connects more to this realm, maybe more into the physical, something different about it, the way it connects. And so the way I perceive it more in the physical, maybe that is it, is that copper is just more here in this plane, well, end all, but I mean, it almost seems like it's condensing it down more to be utilized, to be perceived here in this plane more than the silver. Because, yeah, the silver seems just way out there. I mean, it seems so expansive. Um, yeah, you are very welcome, Stephanie. I hope some of that helps. But yeah, truly, I still suggest just sit and feel into things and see what sparks you. All right, on. And yeah, thanks for thanks for your feedback, Renard. Um, all right, so let's see. I don't think I have anything else, unless you guys got some more questions here. Let's see. And thanks for a question here. Sir Walter Russell had introduced the octave-based vibrational concepts of the elements. In this sense, wouldn't it be possible to elevate and purify the copper or silver? Oh, our copper and silver is purified the second it comes in the door. So what we do with the copper is we take it back to when it was before it came out of the earth. Those who mined it, the whole process, all the way till it reaches us. So we always clear the copper um, and the silver. So everything that comes in here is completely cleared. Um, and so, truly, these are all fields of consciousness. I got a friend who is in, gosh, I don't even know where he's at right now, but all he does is look at a picture of the silver mini wand, and it does all the work. Because he just tunes into the energy. And so truly, yes, we don't we don't need any of these tools. You can tune into it, and you can do it yourself. But truly, these tools are grand because they allow us to even perceive and know these fields and ourselves. And that's really the biggest thing about these tools, is the new stuff and where we're going is for you to know yourself, all that you are. We use from the first octave to the higher octaves through the intention of heart consciousness. Would this allow the element being used to express both its vibration and consciousness potential to the fullest? Well, yeah, totally. Anytime that you bring your consciousness into everything, that is creation. And what you choose to do with it, that is within your belief system, you know, within your wheelhouse of creation, um, of where you're at in the moment. Then, yeah, totally, you can do so much with these. So, yes, everything here that you're asking is all totally a potential and possibility. Um, Because, yeah, when you start to interface your consciousness and light into these fields, these new ones are kind of like, well, not as much of a reflection field. I don't even know. I'm probably gonna. I lost where I was going there. I'm still trying to make sure that I answered your question to the fullest. And But yeah, and that's it. Is that the potentials are unlimited through your light, your consciousness, unlimited potentials. Um, Only those that you allow onto yourself. And those are all ones that we've agreed upon and received and everything else. So as you stand as more of a sovereign being, beholden to none, including mass consciousness, the, the further you can fly, literally and figuratively. Um, so Yeah, it's all a big game of consciousness for sure. And, and that's the beautiful thing is that as we step more into ourselves and we're releasing all the things that make us who we were, because that's it, is that, this is going to be probably quite a month. And I feel like the dragon wands are going to be coming through this month because this truly is the time the time is being held, and it's not like you have to do things right now in September, but the time is now here. The space is held for those who are ready to truly step into releasing your identity as a human. Um, Untangling from it so that you're still going to be a human. It's not like we're like, oh, human bad, we're not going to be a human no more. No, it's the integration, it's the loving of all the parts that you are. And um yeah, and so basically the space is held now where it hasn't been before for us to truly step into these spaces of the deep release of those things that still pattern our energy in the ways that are limiting. And so truly that's, I feel is the big exciting thing that we're doing is we're stepping out of our limitations. Um, and we see it all the time. I mean, daily magic and miracles occur. Reality is malleable, very much so. And so, we're just going to be stepping into more exciting times personally as a personal creator in this world. And so, anyway, September to me is the time that's being held for us to really step through and do some more release work of some of the true deep structures, because we've had all these energetic structures of who we are. I mean, that's all we do is who am I? And we create our identity. Almost everything we do is about our identity and confirming it and changing it and everything else. And so much is put into our identity, holy limitations. And so that's where we're stepping in, and that's what I mean by the identity is all the limitations and the beliefs in those structures. So those structures were full of all the crap that we've amassed by being in those identities. And now that we're clearing out all that stuff, now we can change our structures. The structure of beliefs, the structures of your identity, which are your identity is just your beliefs, perspectives, desires based on who knows, unhealed things, wants, needs, desires of the imbalanced human. And so anyway, it's not like we're stepping out of humanity. We're becoming grander. We are stepping into our potentials as humanity because the human is the grandest being in all of creation. It truly is. We're the only ones that chose to incarnate into this weird thing that is totally unnatural, are biological. This is an unnatural state of being because you are light and consciousness. You're not biology. You are light and consciousness. This is an unnatural way to be. And so that is what we're clearing away too as we step into more of all that we are. Um, Yeah, Stephanie, autumn is here. I am so excited for autumn. Yep. Yep. It's yeah, I have a feeling that for myself, man, by mid-December, I'm going to be I'm going to be I'm going to be me. I really am. And I'm super excited for it because damn, it's been a long, arduous journey. And, it doesn't have to be for those that are just stepping into the journey. It doesn't have to be tough. It doesn't have to take 2 lifetimes, 84 years. It doesn't, and that's the beautiful thing about all of us here that are doing the work, that are stepping up and stepping into our being is that it's allowing others to step into it that much easier too. You don't have to do it the hard way. And again, I feel that's what the new line of tools are about. The wisdom energetics was still a little harsh, still a little rough, but I feel like these new fields can get you through all that wisdomizing in a much more graceful, easy way. Um, but you still have to do the work. I mean, you still have to be aware and allow. So, I mean, the work isn't like sitting in meditation and things. It's just being aware, being present. And when something comes up into your world, you say, no, no more, no more. That is your superpower right now. No more. And mean it from the heart. Shitty work, bad experiences, crappy car, intense interactions with spouse. No more. That's all it takes. You are creator. And so, as we step into being creators, what we do first is we uncreate what no longer serves us or brings us joy. So, as creator, you step in and you say no more. Simple as that. It's the clear conscious choice. That is your superpower. And I've been doing this for a few years, and I never once really wanted to step in and say, okay, this is what I want. This is what I desire. Because I've been so much, like manifestation. I'm like, no, I'm not going to step in and try to manifest things based upon my human perspective, my human limitations of things to make life a little bit easier or anything like that. We're stepping into new, and that's it, is that we're not making things a little bit better and a little bit easier. We're taking the wrecking ball to everything so that we can step into something new, not just a little bit better, not just a little bit more. That has been what we've been doing on this planet. Just a little bit more. Fuck, we're all suffering and don't have enough. And all we strive for is just a little more. Just a little more. Fuck that. The world is yours. It's all your energy and it's there to serve you. So just start saying no more to those things that come into your awareness, your reality. Just say no more. And then as things fall away, pretty soon you'll have more clarity on what it is that you want. What do I want? Not much. I kind of had a little epiphany here about a year and a half ago on New Year's Day, and it was, God, an amazing, amazing day. Holy smokes, could go for hours on describing it, but one of the big things was, oh shit, I just lost it. Yeah, I don't know. It really doesn't matter. It's all talk. It's inspirations. Just, knowing that this stuff is true and real. And that's one of the biggest things that you may run into is doubt and the mind. And if the mind ever starts giving you problems and you're starting to go into doubt, just tell it to fuck off. Sorry, that's my words. Tell it to go away. You don't have to listen to none of that shit. It's not really yours. Not yours. Not yours. It belongs to wounded aspects. It belongs to mass consciousness. But most of the things that are in your mind are not yours. And I discovered that after doing all the wisdom energetics of clearing away all of the things, the lifetimes, the aspects. And I woke up one day and I was like, wow, I'm at peace here. I've never been at peace, I feel, in any lifetime. It's always been this loud, crowded room, and I never knew it. I never knew I was in a loud, crowded room. It was all mostly me. It was mostly my aspects and lifetimes, but yet there's still mass consciousness and, a lot of those little old wounds from not only this lifetime, but other lifetimes, things that people tell you when you're a kid. And then it just sticks. You shift your entire perspective and reality based on one little thing. And, yeah, so I mean, it's being free. Real freedom. Freedom isn't fighting wars and silly goddamn American flags and freedom, 4th of July. God dang, sorry. That's an old part of me that just really, for many years fought against those systems because I could see and know that they weren't doing anybody any good. Sorry for stepping into those things, but um basically I guess it's just really truly being aware and present, and when those things come up, even like that little thing for me, it's just like I look at it and I'm like, "Yeah, I can laugh about it now," which is really grand. Again, laughing at yourself about the stupid shit that you do and you used to believe, because we are ever changing and ever evolving. And sorry if none of my things really tied together or make sense here in this last little part, but I'm sure that there was something that came through that needed to. But yeah, sorry I got lost a few times here along the way, and um, I think I still made some points of basically just it's you can be influenced by things, but you don't have to be. It's your choice. It's your choice if you feel like you're influenced by your mental and your emotional and life situations in the world. That's your choice. And you know what? Make a better choice. Actually, make a clear, conscious choice. It's all it takes. Being in your heart, making a clear, conscious choice. No more. No more of that. I'm not participating in that. It's not for me. It doesn't bring me joy. I don't need it anymore. And that's all it takes. And then again, also with the mind, if you have the doubts coming in, tell them to bugger off. Because you can let the mind, it's part of being the multidimensional human. You're still going to have the mind. It's still going to pick up shit. You're still going to be having to clear yourself. But you don't have to entangle with it. It'll still be there. But you can tell it, hey, no, just you sit over there with your shit. Because you're not going to sit here and fill me full of doubt and tell me that none of this is possible and it's not real and that I don't have the power to change my world. Because doubt will come in. And so doubt is something that you tell, no, I'm not listening. You can go away. Do you think you'll get to a point to where you want to create with gold? You darn right we will. And that you felt it when you first arrived here today. Thank you, Matthias. Yes, most definitely. Because when I was talking about the silver too, and the silver just being so crisp, that is what we were told. Like when the highest potentials came in, I believe it was, is that's what we received. Is they were like, just wait until you work with gold. Holy crap! Now that we've reached our kind of our pinnacle of our energies too, yeah, I think we will totally start working with gold at some point. Really would like to. Solid gold, not electroplated, solid gold. But it's an investment. Not only obviously the materials, but then all the equipment, and then skills, learning it, melting a lot of gold. I still melt a lot of silver, still melt a bit of copper. So yeah, definitely want to make some gold, and I think we'll start out with just some small, simple little gold ring pendants here at some point, but we shall see. Um, yeah, Renard waiting for gold, man. I know. And and Slim he used to electroplate the copper rings. He would plate it with silver and then gold, silver, gold. He would do 9 layers of this. And and it did bring through some other great energetics. I mean, I guess what I was getting to was you could certainly find an electroplater and plate your silver gold, and that would be okay. But I think really truly anchoring the energies into the structure of the gold when we create it is going to be grand. It's just going to bring through such a wow. I don't know. I want to make one now. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you, you guys, for that inspiration. Cause yeah, I think that could definitely be next level. And maybe that's where we need to go is there. But let's see, anything else? Nope. Again, our 12% off sale going on here all weekend for Labor Day. And we have also the 12% applies to all of our sale prices. So again, generators that are 33% off or 30% off will now be an additional 12% off over the weekend. So there will be some things. Considering a new Starburst version, this time it's like colliding new energies. You know, it hasn't popped up yet to create the new Starburst and the key pendant and such, but I feel that those will come. I do. Um, I think we still need, I think we're still just kind of integrating, getting these energies out there as more people are working with these fields. It's going to help to solidify this greater field because we make the fields for the tools, but when you use the tools and you bring in your conscious and your light, it also helps to it creates a larger field that supports everybody and everything else that's working with these tools. You don't lose any energy, you're not receiving other people's crap, nothing like that. It's just that it's like here where we have this 50 questions Friday field, and the more people that come in and they bring their true consciousness and light and not their shit, their baggage has to stay outside. When they bring in their consciousness, light, the field grows and expands and it's greater. And that's kind of what it is with the concept of these new tools too, these new fields, is that as we all work with them, it just helps to more solidify that field in this realm. And then I think we can start making some cool new designs. And this energy's been very interesting because there's things that just won't come through until the time is right, like the dragon wands. I feel like maybe here September might be the right time finally. Um, there's just so many different tools like dancing with water, the new silver water rings we made. We just now got them completed. It's been about a month and a half we've been working on these because it's just the time has just never been appropriate and that felt right. And so my explanation here is about the Starburst and the Wings of Talk, and I would like to think that we will bring those back at some point. I really do. And we'll just wait and see what happens. Um, but yeah, I don't think we had any other announcements. Nothing else truly new, except for those silver fidgets that are listed now. And this grand sale that's going on this weekend that includes all previously discounted tools. Alrighty, well, you guys, yeah, happy September coming up here Monday, and yeah, we'll see you guys probably here next week, most likely. And yeah, all right. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate the really appreciate that you guys show up so that I got something to do because I really enjoy doing these 50 questions Fridays because it just really helps me step into myself more because I have to be present here. And so it is a great time to just be present. Um, all right. Much love, you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. Take care.